fragrant friends, it's Jay. In today's video, we're going to be talking about tobacco, leather, and oud fragrances for the feminine nose. For the beginner, however you want to phrase it, I am that. I definitely have a feminine nose, and I'm certainly a beginner when it comes to those notes. So I picked 5 fragrances from each of those categories from my collection that I feel reflect those notes, but in a soft way or in a sweet way or in a way that was tolerable for me, because I can't tolerate or I don't enjoy strong concentrations of those fragrances if they're done in a certain way. And I'll explain as we go through each of the fragrances. So let's just go ahead and start with tobacco. Now, tobacco, I've said before, I love a tobacco note, but I'm specific. It has to be a sweet tobacco. It has to be a wet tobacco, kind of that sweet, sticky, pungent, wet tobacco, like syrupy. Those are the kinds that I like. I don't like a dry and ashy tobacco, nothing like that. So not smoky, not necessarily smoky either. So all of these that I'll mention reflect my taste, okay? And I think my taste is feminine, as I said in the intro. So the first one doesn't actually have any tobacco in it. This is Boss, the scent Absolute. This has peach, it has honey, there's vetiver, coffee actually, and vanilla. So I have a hard time perceiving coffee unless it's just a very literal coffee fragrance. I have trouble perceiving it in the mix, and the way that this comes across to me, it feels like tobacco. So if you are somebody who is just getting into it, is just trying to get acclimated to the way that tobacco smells, I think this is a great option because it is fruity. Like I said, there's that peach note, and it's a sweet peach. The honey, as it dries down, I mean, when you first spray it, you know, you get that sweet peach. It's very sweet, juicy, and that honey adds the sweetness too. As this dries down on my skin, I get more of I want to say like a sultry feel. It feels richer. And I wonder if it's the vetiver, the coffee, and the sweetness of everything. Maybe the honey, that might add some of that sticky richness to it as well. I don't know, but it's just the way that it develops on my skin. It feels like a sweet, wet tobacco leaf with a fruitiness to it. So that's that peach. I definitely think this is one that people should try. For me, it's very easy to love, and it's not that expensive. So this is Boss, I hope the scent Absolute, got it right. Perfect. It's beautiful. And that peach sticks around for a little bit. It stays fruity. So yeah, try it out if you haven't. I think it's worth it. The next tobacco is, okay, so there's a caveat. I have to stop right now because I'm looking, and some of these aren't necessarily easy fragrances, okay? But they do have an feminine, they do reflect a feminine nature of the notes. So I'm saying that because this next one is Amouage, and this is Portrayal Woman. Portrayal Woman is not easy because this is a jasmine fragrance, okay? It's a strong jasmine fragrance. It's sweet. There's vanilla in here, and I think there might be some resins. I can't remember, but there's also tobacco, okay? So when you first spray it, when I first spray it, I get jasmine, okay? But it's sweet and it's rich. This scent is very strong, okay? And as it dries down on your skin, on my skin, that, you know, faint tobacco and the vanilla start to come out. And it just gives the white floral, like I said, a sweet richness, okay? And you get a little bit of the tobacco in the base. But again, you've got to love jasmine to love this fragrance. So that is Portrayal Woman by Amouage. And the next one, I'll talk about the one that kind of inspired this video. So I was watching my girl Sunny, as I do, And she was talking about Bucheron. This is Ambre d'Alexandrie a while back. So she purchased it, and I purchased it recently as well. I was thinking as I was wearing it that I do get that apple pie smell. I do get that sweet, spicy, you know, apple pie, feeling. But as this fragrance dries down, you definitely feel tobacco in here, and it's a sweet tobacco. She mentioned that in her one of her more recent videos, and so because we agreed, that gave me the idea to do this video. So thank you, Sunny, for recommending this fragrance. It really is a beautiful one. So it is like an apple pie tobacco fragrance. It dries down to a beautiful, soft, sweet tobacco. Let me show you the atomizer, but there's definitely cinnamon and those apple pie spices in here. So this one is beautiful. Very, very easy. I thought it was very similar to Wajan, which I have that one in my collection, but that's in the beginning. It's similar to Wajan in the beginning, and that's by Parfums de Marly, but as it dries down, that sweet tobacco definitely comes out. So if you haven't gotten your hands on this, you guys, this line, I have three that worked out for me, and I'll talk about them, but it's a beautiful line. This is Bucheron Ambre d'Alexandrie. Beautiful, spicy tobacco, spicy sweet vanillic tobacco. The one that started it for me, I think, and I've had this fragrance for a little while, this is Herod by Parfums de Marly. I say this all the time whenever I talk about this, the little ring around the atomizer got stuck in the lid, which is annoying, but it's still a beautiful fragrance. This is a very sweet, syrupy, vanilla cherry tobacco. It's like a wet pipe tobacco. Very authentic smelling to my nose, with some added sweetness maybe, but I think tobacco in that way, like cigar tobacco or the tobacco leaves that are wet, are very sweet and pungent anyway. This is beautiful. If you are a woman, I think that you should at least sample Herod, because it's not overwhelming at all. There's no ash, there's no smoke, it's just sweet and sexy and sultry, as a tobacco fragrance generally is, in my opinion. So there you go. Parfums de Marly Herod. You probably hear this talked about a lot. It's popular on YouTube, but it's a beautiful fragrance. So get your nose on it. It's worth it. The last one in the tobacco category that I have for you today is Bois Dore by Van Cleef and Arpels. This one is an easy tobacco. It may not be the easiest fragrance. It's not way out in left field. It's not way out there, but this is nice. There is a cool mineral note in the beginning. So it feels a little bit, not quite, but almost metallic in the beginning. It doesn't stay around for the whole life of the fragrance, and then I'm just hit with a beautiful vanillic tobacco. It's just sweet, so beautiful. No fruity notes, no nothing. This is just like a sweet vanillic pipe tobacco. So very beautiful. Bois Dore by Van Cleef and Arpels. One in the tobacco category that I wanted to mention, but I'm gonna use it as an honorable mention, is Rich, Warm, and Addictive by Zara. Now, this is one I think that they discontinued, but I saw that they brought it back, but it's in a different bottle. So I don't know anything about that new bottle. I don't know if the composition is similar to this, but if it is, it's definitely an easy tobacco. Similar to the Bois Dore. I think it's a little bit lighter than that though, but it's just a beautiful, sweet vanillic tobacco. So worth getting your hands on. Try the new bottle if you can get your hands on this. I don't know. Sometimes people ask for crazy prices when things are really discontinued and rebottled. So try it out. Let me know in the comments if you guys have tried the new one, the new Zara Rich, Warm, and Addictive. Let me know what it's like. Next category, I'm just gonna slide these over, is leather. Okay, so it took me a minute, I think, to get accustomed to the feeling of leather in a fragrance. Although when I was just starting out and just getting a lot of samples, I did try what is that? Leather House. Oh shoot, I can't remember. The rose and the leather. It's just very, very soft. If I remember it, I'll put it up. But that type of leather is easier when it's just very, very muted, very, very soft. But there are different types of leather in fragrances. Some are very sharp and clean. Some are very smoky and animalic. I can get with the clean leather. I definitely love a soft suede leather. And these are the types that I'm going to talk about. Now, I love my leathers I found with lots of fruits or lots of sweetness. So I'm going to talk about fragrances that reflect that. Another channel that you should watch is Veronica Says, and she has a beautiful, beautiful, well-rounded collection. She has lots of leather fragrances, all types. So if you want more guidance on leather, you should definitely watch her. Now, you probably already do. If you're here, you probably already watch Veronica. She's great. So, but if you don't, you should for sure. And she put me on to some really lovely leather fragrances. So thank you, girl. The first one I'm going to start with is Silky Saffron. And this is Matin Martin. This is a citrus leather, okay? A candied citrus leather, and it's beautiful. So it says saffron. Now, saffron can give a leathery feel to a fragrance if you're wondering how it relates. So let me spray. There's grapefruit, and grapefruit is one of my favorite citruses. I used to wear pink grapefruit a lot when for the Body Shop when I was younger, but straight out the bottle, you get those beautiful citruses, and they get sweeter as the fragrance goes along. And it mixes with the saffron, so it's dry and it's spicy, leathery. Citruses and this type of leather, saffron types, like clean leather, they work very, very well together. So this becomes, like I said, a candied citrus leather fragrance, but the leather is not overwhelming. That saffron is not overwhelming here. So this is one that I would definitely recommend you get your nose on. Very smooth, a little bit spicy, a little bit herbaceous. I would say that's the saffron, I think. But again, it calms down and it becomes more candied citrus and smooth. But the leather is still fresh. The saffron is still fresh. So that's that. That's Matin Martin, Silky Saffron. I talked about this last one in my last video. This is my grounded video. This is Bucheron Cuir de Venise. And this is a soft leather, not suede, with the addition of cacao. That makes it very, see, right out of the nozzle, it makes it very cozy, very comforting, but it's very earthy, okay? There's some green notes in here. I think the papyrus and the cedar, I don't know if those add some sort of green to this, but it feels that way. It feels green. It's a drier fragrance. There is some sweetness to it, but it's definitely not the sweetest fragrance. There's vanilla in here as well, but the dry down, the green kind of calms down. It's like a spicy type green. It dries down, and this fragrance just becomes so, it's just something you want to cuddle up to. If someone had this on, it's rich in a light way is how I described it. It's just, I think it's the cacao and the type of leather that's in here. It's just very, very beautiful. Maybe musk, I can't remember. Cacao is kind of powdery, but it's just a rich, warm, cozy, earthy fragrance. So I think this would be one that should be tried if you're looking to get into leather. And again, I mean, there's no actual leather in this fragrance, but there is a feel of a soft leather. So that is that Cuir de Venise by Bucheron. One that I haven't talked about, but that I think is very beautiful is, this might be a leather. These other ones, I think, including the tobacco fragrances, are probably warm to cool weather, cold weather fragrances. Silky Saffron, I think you can wear in the springtime, warm weather, maybe even summer nights, maybe during the summer days. But let's get to this French Leather by Memo. This fragrance, I wasn't sure about it, but this rose, the rose in here, I was worried about it, but it's such a fresh rose. So imagine that pink rose, okay? Or like one of the fresh, like pink and fresh red roses. And I feel like that's in here, and they're even green. There's some stems in here, fresh green, fresh red and pink roses with some green, you know, with their greenery. And there's a soft suede note as this fragrance develops it as well. And it's just soft. It's not harsh, nothing harsh about this fragrance. So a fresh rose with a soft suede, it's really, really beautiful. Great for, see, there's the suede right there coming through. Earthy. It's great for a warmer weather. I don't know how it would do in the cooler weather. I think this is a warmer weather fragrance. So that is French Leather by Memo. Memo, how do you guys say that? The next one, I said, it was in my last video too, and I said that it was like a marshmallow, like a suede marshmallow, and that's what it is. It's very dry, it's powdery, and you get the suede. The suede is dialed back. It's just so soft and smooth and sweet, and that's what this fragrance is. So earthiness with the suede, but soft and sweet with that powdery, marshmallowy feeling on top of it. It's really, really beautiful. So that's Reve de Cashmere. It's simple. It's a simple fragrance, nothing complicated, but it is elegantly beautiful. So Reve de Cashmere by Van Cleef and Arpels. Now the last one is fun. This is newer to my collection, and this is Muse by Xerjoff. So I have never had a Xerjoff in my collection, and this is one of the newer ones that I have. And here, sorry about the plate, but it kind of took me by surprise. Now, the description of it was that it was a raspberry, like a plummy raspberry leather, and some of the descriptions were saying that it was a syrupy, almost kind of artificial, medicinal, and a lot of them didn't say that. Some of them were just saying that it was a very fruity but syrupy, fruity leather. So I went ahead and I went back and forth with this one, but I'm glad that I got it. The leather in here is very soft. Don't wear this fragrance if you're in any way uncomfortable or if you're not feeling that great, because it's so loud in the beginning, okay? You definitely feel the strength of it. It is fruity right off the bat, and it's not, it does almost have a medicinal note to it, but that dies down. It definitely calms down, and the whole fragrance in general definitely calms down. The leather in this is very smooth and soft as the fragrance dries down. It's a backseat player. It kind of grounds it and fluffs it up maybe, or softens it, I think. But this is a fragrance in the leather list that is probably the least discernible as far as leather goes. But there is that earthiness to this fragrance, and the raspberry and the plum definitely start to calm down and become more lovely. So this is one that I'm gonna have to wear more, but I think that it's also worth a sample if you like the sound of those things. So that is Xerjoff Muse. Yeah, it's really pretty. Next, we're going to talk about ouds. Okay, so this one is really, really worth trying. And like I said, I think I put the amber one in my collection of grounded fragrances, but this one is I Want Oud by Jimmy Choo. And I got a great deal on this in Joma Shop, at Joma Shop. You really, really have to be stalking Joma Shop to find some of their deals, some of their sales, because once you get it, sometimes things are just gone. So, you know, I can't be doing that now. I'm just gonna, you know, my plan is gonna be to just use the things that I have, and be grateful and appreciative and, you know, experience and get to know my own collection a little bit better. This is a tangent, sorry guys, but I'm gonna try if not to buy fragrances in 2023. If I do, I'm only allowed a chance every quarter. Okay, so only 4 fragrances for the year if it's something outstanding. So I'm gonna, like I said, I have so much that I mention and that I don't go back to, and it's just been worn maybe 1 or 2 times, even just in testing. Some of my fragrances haven't even gotten a full wear, so that's not good. I need to calm it down. So this is I Want Oud by Jimmy Choo, their Seduction collection. There is a rose in this fragrance as well, but the way it develops, the rose is fresh, and there is a beautiful powdery oud as it develops. It's really, really beautiful. Fresh rose, powdery oud. This is very feminine. And what I have from this fragrance is all, from this line, fragrance line, the Seduction collection, they're all very, very feminine fragrances. Nothing harsh, nothing animalic, nothing. It's just very smooth, a very smooth fragrance. So it's not even your typical rose and oud. It's something almost candied in here. It's just sweet. So if you can, don't be afraid. I think they might still have this available, but this is one that you shouldn't be afraid of trying, okay? That's I Want Oud by Jimmy Choo. I mentioned this next one in my grounded video as well. This is Nihilo Oud Vendome. You know, something I'm not happy about, my little gold plating for the name is coming off. And my X is coming off too. But the fragrance is intact, and it's really just a very bright, rich, sweet, almost fruity upon first spray, and as it develops, oud. There's so many different types of ouds. I'm taking a guess to say that there's Cambodian oud in here, because I read that Cambodian oud has like a berry-like nature to it. It's kind of fresh and fruity, berry-like. I'll find where I read that, and I'll tag it down below so that you guys can read the article. It was really cool to read the characteristics of different ouds. But as it starts to develop, it starts to feel a little bit chocolatey, and it's not pronounced. I don't know that it's just a brief thing, and it's just a hint of it. It's not like, this is not a chocolate fragrance, but it's just, if you're smelling your skin or if you're smelling the strip and you're really studying it, it feels that way. It feels very rich, almost fruity, but it's bright. Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful oud, and it doesn't feel like it's just straight up woody, straight up heavy. This is a fragrance I think deserves to be tried. I think it deserves some attention, and it deserves some sampling, because it's very, very feminine and beautiful. And the bottle is dirty. Is that better? There we go. Nihilo Oud Vendome. The next one is a classic. This is an OG. Everybody knows Miss Oud Boquet. Very, very rich, very incensey, sweet, candied rose and oud fragrance. This is especially occasion fragrance, in my opinion. It only needs to be sprayed just a little. There's so many dupes to this fragrance, but this one, like I said, it feels like a sweet, sweet incense that hasn't been burned yet, but it's just very rich and sweet, rosy, candied, vanillic. It's just rich, just heavy, dense, rich. So that is Oud Bouquet by Lancôme. An alternative to that is Oud Mood by Lattafa. Not only an alternative, but I think that the oud is a little bit, this is a fresher fragrance, definitely. It's more airy. I think you can feel the rose more clearly and the oud more clearly in this fragrance. So it's not so dense, it's not so rich. And the oud is more of that woody oud, okay? It's not so covered by all of the sweetness and the gourmandiness and the, you know, the richness of everything in Oud Bouquet. But it is, I would say, it is similar to Oud Bouquet. So if Oud Bouquet is something that you were interested in, I would say that this is close enough that you would be satisfied with this purchase. Or if you're looking for something, like I said, lighter than Oud Bouquet, this is something that is lighter and fresher. It starts to sweeten up, definitely. I'm feeling that as it's drying down, but it's still not as heavy as the Oud Bouquet. And you can feel a little bit of spice in here too, is what I'm getting. So that is Oud Mood. But again, the oud is, it plays well, you know, it's not trying to take all the attention, and it plays well with the other notes. So you're not gonna be screaming oud when you wear this fragrance. Then last one is probably one of my oldest fragrances, and you'll see what I mean, that, you know, I've sprayed it, but there's not a lot gone, and I feel like there should be more gone. This is Mula by Byron. Now, this is a peachy, sweet, peachy, there's red berries in here, there's vanilla in here, and the oud is just very dialed back, and it adds just a woodiness to this fragrance for depth, and so it's not so over the top candy-like. I think it brings a sophistication to this fragrance, I believe, but it's definitely a grown-up candy, definitely a grown-up candy with that peach and the red berries. It's sweet and syrupy with a hint of woodiness, a hint of oudiness. So that's Mula by Byron. And that is my list. Let me know, are you guys even interested in these notes? Do you have any oud fragrances for feminine noses that I should know about? Did any of these spark your attention or your curiosity? Leave it in the comments if you were interested in anything that I mentioned. I'm always curious about that. Do you guys, you know, are you interested in things that I mentioned, and what exactly it is? And do you like it? You know, do you like any of these fragrances that I mentioned? Another honorable mention was Vanille Fatale, and I so wanted to put this fragrance on the list, but I think the problem is that there's not enough. This was going to be in the leather section. It's really just, it's very vanilla forward. I don't think there's enough of the leather without having to kind of break the fragrance down and study it. I don't think that you can really say, okay, I'm feeling the leather. I think it's really well blended, and everything just adds to the vanilla. It's not separated on its own. So that's why I didn't put this one in there, but I think it's so good. Yeah. Let me know what you guys think. Put your comments in the video. I appreciate you spending time with me. Thank you so much to my new subscribers and my old subscribers. You know, I love you guys and I appreciate your support. And I'll see you in the next video. Love, Jay. Bye-bye.